This is Umar for BoxNation. We're in Los Angeles ahead of a huge Riyadh Season Card tomorrow night. Their first one outside of Riyadh. They break into the American market. I'm joined by Jim Lampley. Appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for
privilege.
jumping. Yeah, let's start with Riyadh Season. As I said, they're breaking boundaries. The first one in the United States. What do you make of Riyadh Season coming here?
Well, obviously, this entire development is a tremendous economic and financial shot in the arm for boxing. It's going to arm promoters and managers with more options ever for how to try to get their fighters paid a reasonable amount of money for their efforts in this extremely strenuous, difficult, and self-sacrificing sport. So it makes everybody feel better about their prospects going forward in the business. And, you know, every fighter on the card tomorrow night, every manager, every promoter is a beneficiary of this new interest in the sport from Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely. Terence Crawford, I mean, arguably pound for pound number one, number two. How do you see it, Jim?
Oh, I think Terence Crawford's number one pound for pound. And I covered his emergence from obscurity into prominence the day that he upset a guy named Bradis Prescott on a top-ranked undercard in Las Vegas in what was supposed to be a showcase fight for Prescott moving forward toward big assignments at 130 pounds. Crawford completely dominated him from start to finish and made himself, from that point going forward, a meaningful competitive figure in the sport. It has not surprised me at all to see Terence Crawford become the number one pound-for-pound fighter because I know how he works. I know his competitive attitude toward the sport, and I know that he is 24/7, nonstop. You are not going to find any trip up, any illogical negative that's going to get in the way of Terence Crawford doing what he wants to do in the ring.
There's a man in the room here, Eddie Hearn, who obviously represents Israil Madrimov. He's backing him to cause the upset tomorrow night. How do you see this going? Terence, comfortably?
Well, I think Terence Crawford is smart enough to have a great deal of respect and a great deal of appreciation for what Madrimov has done. I think that Terence sees Madrimov as a legitimate, meaningful opponent who presents a danger to his competitive record in the ring. I have yet to see a situation in which Terence Crawford fell short of producing a maximum performance and honoring his talent to the greatest degree that he can honor it, and that's what I expect to see again tomorrow night.
Okay, we'll look forward to it. Just keeping on Riyadh Season, they've brought everyone together for the benefit of the sport, which has been brilliant. Something that was very notable in the UK.
10 promoters working together on the same card.
Incredible.
It's absolutely unprecedented in the history of the sport. And, you know, everybody who's involved deserves credit for reeling in their own ego just a little bit and going forward in a scenario that does as much as is possible for boxing.
Absolutely. Here he is behind me. In terms of himself and Frank Warren in the UK, they had been going at it for years, wouldn't work together. It was a 20-year rivalry stemming back to his father, Barry. Now they're working very well together. What have you made of that situation, those two guys?
Well, Eddie grew up in the sport. And when you grow up in the sport, you have a clearer picture from the inside of the moments when you might want to govern your own ego just a little bit, think in terms of teamwork, and even work sometimes with people with whom you have been enemies or adversaries in the past. And Eddie's done that. So he has demonstrated exactly the right kind of business attitude and rationality that it takes to do maximum beneficial business in a sport like boxing.
In terms of the heavyweight picture, we've got two very interesting fights tomorrow with Anderson and Bakolian and Miller and Ruiz. You said you have Crawford pound for pound number one. A lot of people see Alexander Usyk as pound for pound number one.
I rank Crawford number one pound for pound because it's always my instinct to think in terms of lower weight class fighters for that particular designation. Yes, Usyk is a legitimate pound-for-pound #1 contender, and if anybody comes to me and says, you're dead wrong about Crawford being #1 pound-for-pound, Usyk deserves that distinction. I don't have any strong argument to push back with.
Okay. How do you see the rematch with him and Tyson going, Jim?
The rematch between?
Usyk and Tyson.
Usyk is a favorite. I think he's a favorite every time he enters the ring until somebody can demonstrate that there's something in the way of physical deterioration, because as long as it's about his competitive attitude, his training, his sticking to his own plan, his discipline in his life, if those are the factors, Usyk isn't going to fall short. He's going to continue to perform at the highest possible level.
What does Tyson have to do differently?
Try to be more aggressive, perhaps, and get at him. You can't let Usyk get into his rhythm and fight in the style in which he most wants to fight. You got to be rambunctious. You got to do your best to rough him up. You've got to try to make him feel like a small heavyweight in there.
Okay. The last topic I want to ask you about is on September 21st at the Wembley Stadium. We're going to have hopefully 100,000 people in for another Riyadh Season show. Joshua-Dubois, another massive night in the heavyweight division. How much of a chance do you give Daniel in this fight, Jim?
I think Dubois has to be given a chance in any fight because he can box and he can punch. I don't think at the end of the day he has as much overall talent as you would accord to Anthony Joshua, but Joshua has fallen short sometimes, disappointed his fans with performances that they might have thought were less than what he could conceivably deliver. It's a fight. They're both going to have to show up and be the best they can possibly be. When Joshua's great, he's great. He's very, very difficult to beat. When Joshua glances to the side and doesn't pay maximum attention to what he's doing, he opens the door to other people. See Andy Ruiz.
So you see Dubois as a threat in this fight, though?
Oh, yeah. Dubois is a threat to anybody.
Okay. Well, listen, Jim, I know you're co-hosting the exclusive viewer chat tomorrow night on
ppv.com.
Absolutely. So enjoy that. It's going to be a great card, 50-50 fights throughout, and hopefully we'll catch up soon, Jim.
Thanks very much. I enjoyed talking to you.
Likewise. God bless.